For the first time in over 15 years, the Sacramento Kings have finally broken their long playoff drought, as this season they are the 3rd seed in the West and over 13 games above 500. And to put that in perspective, this is the best the Kings have been since the early 2000s when they had Chris Webber, Peja Stojakovic, Mike Bibby, and more. And if we look at what made the Kings so successful this season, their success starts to make a lot more sense. The main catalyst to the Sacramento Kings' success this year has been their offense. They're a fast-paced offense that shoots a lot of threes, they get out on the break a lot, and they can put points on the board. The Kings Fox is averaging 25 a game, which is a career high for him. And he's been thriving in this high-octane offense, which allows him to do a lot more drive and kick, operate in the pick and roll with Domantas Sabonis, and just playing more freely in a more open offense. And Domantas Sabonis is the perfect big to put in this type of offense just because of how well he can play make and how well he can play off of all the other guys on the floor. You could have Sabonis on the floor with a big and he will get that big and open bucket in the paint. You could have Sabonis at the small ball 5 and now all of a sudden the floor is as open as possible, more spacing for everybody. Sabonis is a great playmaker in the pick and roll, dribble handoff, and from the top of the key, similar to Nikola Jokic in a way, to where you can semi-build your offense around it. This season he's averaging 19 and 12 and a career high 7 assists. And you can see how the pairing of Fox and Sabonis has fared well for the Kings. I feel like when they had Tyrese Haliburton on the team, Fox didn't have that many opportunities to create in the open floor, and off ball, Haliburton wasn't that great to justify the need to stick a player onto him. To put it simply, Tyrese Haliburton and De'Aaron Fox were not a good fit together. Both players needed to be in an environment where they could get the ball and they could create and play to their strengths. But this Sacramento unit as a whole, offensively has taken such a huge leap from last season. Last season they were middle of the pack on offense and they jumped all the way to number 1 in the league. And a huge reason for that is because of the additions they made in the 2022 offseason, grabbing guys like Kevin Huerter, Malik Monk, drafting a stretch 4 in Keegan Murray, the addition of Mike Brown, which was a huge one, and as mentioned before, the Domantas Sabonis trade. In terms of this season, I think the Kings making the playoffs is an achievement itself. They're finally moving into a winning direction, establishing a winning culture after literally 15 years of straight losing, head coach after head coach, unhappy stars, just playing directionless basketball. Now, that's not to say that this Kings team is perfect or anything, or that they can contend for a title. I don't think they're there yet, but it's a good start. They do have some glaring issues on the defensive side of the ball, and they do tend to live and die by the three-pointer. So in a playoff series against a team like the Lakers or the Grizzlies, I could see that being a problem for them. I think if the Kings can go out and get some better defensive pieces off the bench, maybe some 3-and-D guys, some defensive specialists, it would definitely help out a lot. But if we look at the position that this Kings team is in right now, it kind of reminds me of the 2022 Cavaliers before they traded for Donovan Mitchell. They were a team with a very limited history, only finding success because of LeBron James, and for the first time in a long time, they were finally establishing a winning culture on their own. If we compare that to Sacramento, like I said before, the constant years of losing, the dysfunctional franchise, terrible roster moves, etc., etc. That Cavs team also did have a very young star who had potential in Darius Garland, and they had just drafted a really good player very high in the draft as well, in Evan Mobley. Similar to the Kings, De'Aaron Fox is still very young. He's currently playing some of the best basketball of his career, and the Kings just drafted Keegan Murray in the draft, I think 4th overall. And while he hasn't shown as much as Mobley has shown, especially this early on, he's shown some signs of being a really good player for this Kings team. The only thing that these two teams kind of differ on is that the Cavs' success came mostly from their defense, meanwhile the Kings' success came mostly from their offense. But another thing that both teams have in common is that they have a ton of assets that they can trade for a star. And similar to how the Cavs got Donovan Mitchell, I believe that the Kings can go out and get the next disgruntled star in the league who wants to be traded. If I were to speculate any stars out there that would possibly want to leave their current situations, the name I have in mind that a lot of people aren't thinking of is Karl Anthony Towns. And the reason why I think Karl Anthony Towns would be such a good fit for this Kings roster is mainly because how great he is offensively. He's one of the greatest three-point shooting bigs of all time. You could very easily build an offense around Cat, and he's very capable of giving you 25 to 28 points per game. And I could very well see a situation where things don't work out in Minnesota, especially because of how massive the mistake was of trading for Rudy Gobert, and the Timberwolves haven't really shown signs of recovery since then. Also, the duo between Cat and Sabonis would be amazing offensively. I could imagine Sabonis catching Cat for a backdoor cut, or even throwing lobs to Cat outside of the post. It would be a scary duo, and I wonder how teams would defend him, because both guys can shoot, both guys are great in the post, and both guys can operate in the mid-range area. Another addition I had in mind, even though he's not a star player and it's more of a short-term decision, was going out and getting Miles Bridges. Now, I don't know what's up with his current situation. I don't know if the league is going to allow him to be back. But for this scenario, let's say that he's allowed to come back to the league and he's allowed to be on the Kings, right? Miles Bridges, before he ended up in his situation, the last season that he played, he averaged 20 a game. And Miles Bridges, he's shown signs of being a really good scorer. He's shown potential on defense as well, and he can shoot. Not to mention, he's really great on the fast break as well, which fits in with how fast-paced the Kings offense is. So I could see him fitting in very well in that offense. But again, that's just a short-term deal that I think the Kings would probably look into. I wouldn't know if they would do it or not. But if all else fails, I mean, I'm not saying no to Miles Bridges, so yeah, it's still an option. Depending on which star that the Kings end up getting, if the Kings can go out and get a guy who can average 25 to 28 next to De'Aaron Fox and still manage to keep a contending level bench while keeping this core together, they're bona fide contenders. There's nothing you can say that doesn't scream contenders with this team. Like, let's say they go out and get Karl Anthony Towns, right? Is a team with Karl Anthony Towns, De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis, and assuming that they keep one of their bench pieces, like Kevin Huerter, for example, if they keep Kevin Huerter, who's averaging 18 a game right now, if that team isn't a contender, I don't know what a contender is then. And I could legitimately see them making the Western Conference Finals, or even going all the way to the finals and winning it all with a team like that, especially if they improve their defensive personnel as well. But again, we're going to have to see, because the Kings are in a really good spot right now, and I hope I'm not speaking too soon or anything. But yeah, man, the Sacramento Kings are in a really good spot. They're in the playoffs for the first time in like forever, and they do have the potential to make a lot of moves this offseason, and they're going to be included in a lot of trade rumors as well. So if I was a Kings fan, I would be really excited for my team right now. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe. More videos coming out soon. No more hiatuses, I promise. And I'm out. Peace.